What is going on, everyone? Welcome to G-Ball Vision. Today we have a new knife here to check out, and this one's coming in from Trivisa, and they have had a really good run lately here with some of the newer knives they've been putting out. This, I have to say though, however, is the one that I have found to be the most interesting. And look at this thing. Wow. I didn't know it was quite this big, or I didn't realize it was quite this big. That's what she said. So what we are looking at is the Intruder here. Now, I will have this linked down below, as many spots as I can. I think we should be able to get these on Amazon and Trivisa's website. Perfectly centered up there. Look at this thing. Holy smokes. Oh, wow. See, I didn't really get a chance to dive into this knife online or anything. I saw a photo of it and I was like, yeah, that looks cool. I didn't know a whole lot of the intricacies of the knife. I did see they had some cool patterns. They do have different Damascus patterns on top of this steel frame. And then we are looking at a crossbar lock. We have big old thumb studs here for deployment. And then our blade is this nasty harpoon spear point, almost. Really, really cool looking blade shape. We have this fuller running down the center, or a blood groove, if you will. Dull ground here. Feels like a hollow running into a flat there. We have this nice top swedge. Sharpening choil is not too shabby. You could add a little bit there, and I think you would be just fine. Yeah, you would be just fine if you wanted to add in a little bit more here, but you could even use that there. I'm not going to call it a finger choil, but you could choke up there and get behind that edge if you just needed a little bit more control over this thing. I don't know about choking up and really bearing down. You'd want to be careful of that edge, but it is a nice place to kind of cheat up behind the edge there. We are looking at their crossbar lock, which I don't have a ton of experience with any of their crossbar locks. It feels like it could be either it needs broken in, which is probably the case, and it needs maybe a little bit of oil, and I think that might be a little over tightened, but let's keep going here and we'll check that in a moment, see if we can correct that or if it just needs broken in. We are looking at a deep carry clip. It is surface mounted and the screws are not recessed into that clip there, so they are poking out a little bit. We will check that and see if that's going to interfere with at least the hank that we checked those on, and it is going to be reversible there. And then we do have a back spacer here that has an integrated lanyard hole in it. So let's go ahead and we'll get a size on this thing. I can tell you right now it is over 8 inches, and we are looking at 4 inches of cutting edge, 4 3/8 of total blade, and this thing is coming down there at 9 5/8 overall. We'll put this up against a couple of comparison knives here. We have the Kaiser Drop Air and the Benchmade Bug Out, and those are both average sized knives, right? You're going to see this thing just towers over both of them. And when we want to make a knife feel small, we typically bring out the CJRB frac, but in this case, the Intruder is going to be making the frac look pretty small, and up against the Militol, this thing is massive. Just kind of flipping this thing, I think it's a matter of it needing broken in. I think that's going to be a great deal of it. The blade is centered up, and it doesn't bother me because I've had Benchmades that are like this. My TRM was like this, and once they break in, you know, it feels like it's getting broken in as it kind of goes. I haven't watched any other videos, or if there is videos on this, I'm sure there is. I haven't seen anything on it, so I don't know how some of those came. By the time you're seeing this, I probably will. There are times I record something and then go watch a video or two on it just to see what others have said about it, but that's, of course, after I have usually recorded my own, but we'll find out, but I think it'll break in nicely. As far as the clip goes, it's going to carry deep in the pocket. Clip seems to work really well. Some people will complain about the screws not being recessed. They probably should have been. But in the case of this thing, they do leave plenty of room in there. Good retention on the way out. And even though the clip is not recessed, I don't know if I'll be able to bring it up here, but you can see that the start of that clip, the lip of it is rounded over. So it's not like that's going to interfere. It's another obstacle to deal with, of course, going into the pocket. But unless you're carrying this in some really thick seam pants, I think for the most part, you're going to be just fine. Okay, this is going to be interesting here. Boy, what is this thing? Oh, do we have... We have some milling through here. Nothing internally, though. This thing has some heft to it. I don't know. 6.3. Holy shit. 7.6. Ooh. So that's getting up there close to 80-15 size, I believe. 216 grams. Maybe at the end of the video, we'll check the 80-10 against this. I've noticed the heavier the knife is, the harder it is, at least for me, to judge it. It just, once it gets so heavy, past a certain point, at least for me, it becomes kind of tough to narrow it in. These are going to be coming in at 0.53 here on this thickest part. And then for fun, we'll do this part down here, which is the thinnest, coming in at 0.31. We'll check our blade stock here, and I don't know if I even mentioned it. I think I got ahead of myself. 160 thousandths there on the blade stock, so a nice thick boy here. We're going to be dealing with Trivisa's 14C 28N. I don't know if I said that, but they do a great job with their 14C. I've been using it for a long time. 20 thousandths there behind the edge, and we'll do this secondary edge as well just to get an idea. And that's a little bit thicker there at 32, and that's kind of right there at that thickest part. But that doesn't tell us everything we want to know. Let's check this edge out of the box. So we have some telephone book paper here, and we'll see what that tip can do here. See if we can get some piercing cuts in. And we'll check that edge. Trivisa, I would say most of the time nails the quality control. I mean, I think I've had one knife out of the dozen plus that had, and it could have developed because of me as well, but I had a button lock, plunge lock knife where the button was sticking really bad. And it could have been fine when it left them, and then, that could have developed, but all things lead to, they do a great job there. They have their own design language. They do their own thing there. Doesn't seem to me like they're trying to do, replicate this or look like that. They have their own style. They do their own OEM work, and that's something I really appreciate about Trivisa. The more, I've been exposed to Trivisa, a couple years ago, it was just in limited batches when I'd pick up one of their knives in 14C in my Carta, that was here and there. But as I've tried more and more of their knives out, they definitely just have their own flair to them. And, corks here and there, sure. But I would say for the most part, and that's, with some of their knives, they like to go a little bit eccentric or futuristic with things. And I don't have a problem with that at all. They really pull it off. And I don't even know if I want to mess with the pivot guys, because it's starting to really break in as I'm flipping it here. and it's getting just better and better as I flick it. And with that heavier blade, I don't think, yeah, it ain't gonna take long. But for a crossbar lock, tighter action, not bad at all for the kick out. This heavier blade, the tighter tolerances in there, stronger springs. You have those nice size studs there to kick this thing out. It's still a little stiff, but to just sit here and reverse flick it, but you could probably flick it out with a little bit of wrist. This is more of this type of knife, this size though. I feel like this is certainly a thumb flicker. This isn't something you're gonna want to buy to get for the reverse flick action. This is something you get if you want something a little crazier and you might be possibly doing something a little crazier with it. Crossbar lock, going to be a solid lock. We have this large stop pin in there that is not messing around. Yeah, everything is chamfered off nicely. It looks a little crazy, but really what's done here is not really, at least to me, especially in this choked up grip here, which is where I'd usually be if I'm going to be really using this thing. Feels good. I mean, maybe here, if you were to really be squeezing down on this thing for a long period of time, I could see this jimping maybe getting a little aggressive with certain people's hands. But I would say for the most part, with everything that's going on here, pretty comfortable. Yeah, action's breaking in nicely. Let's go ahead and check this lock. No up and down play here. We'll start with the tip and work our way back. Couple of lighter taps out towards the tip. We'll close it and check it. We'll go to the middle here. Very good. Couple of harder taps up here, and we'll run this thing through our normal checks here and see how we made out. There's no play in there. Really wrenching on this thing. Feels good. No pivot lashing. There's no detent in there, so we don't have to worry about that. As far as the action goes, open, good. Closing action, breaking in. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to mess with the pivot at all. Still perfectly centered up there. Yeah, this is a cool knife. You guys will have to let me know. What do you think of this fella here, the Intruder? I believe they have a couple of different Damascus G10 variants that you can pick up. I'll have everything that I can linked down below in the description on this knife. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. That helps push the video out there to more people. And if you're new to this channel and you enjoy knife and EDC content, you're in the right place. Make sure you subscribe because I release daily videos just like this. I'll pop up a couple of new videos on your screen. Go check one of them out for me. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.